they're not only self-evident, we know them by experience, but they're also undeniable. Now we come to the next element, Paramatma. We come to Atma, Paramatma. So Paramatma, it's self-evident in so many ways. Like, for example, they're based on consciousness, universal consciousness. But can we say that Paramatma is actually self-evident, that we have direct experience? So Srila Vyasadeva has pointed out one area of our experience where we do have direct experience of the intervention of Paramatma, and that's dreams. Also instinct. How do spiders know how to build webs? How do we birds know how to build their nests? Instinct. What is instinct? Instinct means it's conscious guidance. Conscious guidance by whom? By what? This is by Paramatma. So now dreams. Dreams, every night or often, we find ourselves in a different body, a different person, in different circumstances. We find ourselves in a dreamscape which is consistent. It's got its own logic, and sometimes dreams have very, very deep symbolic meaning. So what is creating dreams? We don't do it ourselves, because sometimes we have nightmares, very horrible dreams. We're not going to do that to ourselves. And we're conscious in our dreams that actually we're helpless. Just like now, more or less we're helpless. If an elephant comes charging in or a bomb lands, you can't do anything about it. And in dreams, often it's like that. So now Srila Vyasadeva, he's going to explore the nature of dreams. So Sutra 3.2.1. Because the scriptures declare Sanye Srishti Aha Hi. Because the scriptures declare that in the dream state, also, the creation is by the Lord. So Srila Vyasadeva, he's saying that dreams, they're created. He's quoting scripture. So the word Sandhya means dream, as we find from the above passage. It is called Sandhya, or the intermediate state, because it's midway between waking and the deep sleep state. Between the waking and susupti, deep sleep. The creation of chariots and so on, all the paraphernalia in our dreams, is by the Lord and not by the human self. Why do we say so? Because the same text says, Sahi Karta, he indeed is the maker. The Karta is this, the supreme self. The sense is this, the supreme self creates chariots. Katha Upanishad. The wise, whom we know, the wise, when he knows that by which he perceives all objects in sleep or in waking is the great omnipresent self, grieves no more. In other words, there's another text in Katha Upanishad which says that dreams are created by the Lord. The Jiva also has the power of creating by mere will force, and is also Satya Sankalpa, but only in the state of mukti. Satya Sankalpa means that whatever one desires, we achieve that. But this only happens in the state of mukti, generally speaking. Pure devotee, they are Satya Sankalpa. What they desire will come to pass. But for ordinary conditioned souls, that is not the case. The mukta jiva creates the world there, but that's not a dream world. The mukta jivas, so there's a lot of texts here from Katha Upanishad giving examples that the Lord is creating the dreams where we find ourselves in those creations. So now, in the next sutra, next verse, the author mentions the material and the means with which the Lord creates the dream objects. Translation: Maya, or the will of the Lord, is the only means through which he creates dream objects. They are not made of objective matter, because they are not perceptible to all persons, but are seen only by the dreamer. In other words, the dreams, if I have a dream, somebody may be, I'm asleep on a bed, and somebody's sitting next to me, and they see that I'm dreaming because I'm waving my arms around or blinking my eyes or whatever, but they don't know, they can't see what I'm dreaming. So it's not objective. The bed is there. I can see the bed, they can see the bed. But the dream is not visible to them, it's only visible to me. So it's not made of physical matter. Commentary. The mysterious Maya is the only material with which the dream objects are created. They are not made of the gross elements, nor are they created by Brahma, the four-faced. Why do we say so? Because they do not become manifest as objects of perception to everyone. Thus it is demonstrated that the dream creation is the work of the Supreme Self. That's what you wanted me to read, Maharaj?
It's five shlokas.
Oh, here as well?
Yeah, it goes on for 5 shlokas on the dream.
The dream creation, next translation. The dream creation indicates good or evil, hence it is not unreal. The scriptures also teach the dreams to be indicatory, and the experts thereof also declare the same. In other words, the dream may indicate something which is going to happen, or it may indicate something that we should be aware of. Commentary. The dream creation is true. The objects seen in dream indicate good or bad luck or certain mantras. Scriptures teach this. So then there's some quotations from Upanishads. So then some people are very expert at interpreting dreams. Just like, for example, in the Bible, Joseph was put in prison. And while he was in prison, the Pharaoh had a dream. He couldn't understand it. No, while he was in prison, there were 2 people in prison with him, and they had dreams. And they couldn't understand the dreams. And Joseph explained the dreams of both of them. One of them was going to be killed, and the other one was going to be promoted by the Pharaoh. So then later on, the Pharaoh had a dream, and Joseph was brought before the Pharaoh, and Joseph explained that dream as well. He said, you're going to have 7 years of plenty, and then there'll be 7 years of famine. So in those 7 years of plenty, you should stock up so much foodstuff. That was a dream. So Joseph was very expert at explaining the dream, and that changed his life. Carl Jung also is very prominent archetypes present in dreams. Sometimes one gets in dream mantras, just like, for example, in Brihad-bhagavatamritam. There's one that the main personality there, in a dream, he receives a Gopal mantra. And after that, he's chanting the mantra, chanting the mantra, chanting the mantra. And the mantra is very, very powerful and takes him through very, very many different places, ultimately to the spiritual world. Therefore, the dream creation is as real as the waking state. It's not false. Mayavadi philosophers say that this world is false, only Brahman is real. Brahma Satya, Jagan Mithya. That everything we see here is illusion. You're illusion, I'm illusion, all these objects around are illusion. And when we come to our senses, we'll find that, oh, basically, I'm God. I don't know what came over me, that I thought I was some individual, and there were other individuals in the real world. That was all illusion. No. It's real. Krishna says that this world is real. These are my energies. So the world is real, but our connection with the world is illusion. We have no connection with this world. Beginning with the body, we have no connection with this body. This body started off as one single cell within the mother's womb. And then it grew, and now it's changing every 7 years or more. All cells changing, right? So the cell or the body with which we started does not exist. And then when we die, what happens to the body? It's burnt or buried, eaten by worms, eaten by vultures, whatever. So where is our connection with the body then? What was your previous body 2 births ago? Ah.
On the temple of the Krishna.
You don't know. None of us know. So where is the connection? If you have no connection with your body even, then what connection do I have, with any other objects in this world? The body is that object with which we have the most tightest connection, but actually we have no real relationship with that body. So what to speak of all the other objects? So the world is real, but our connection with the world is illusory. And the whole purpose of Krishna consciousness is to change. We have an affection for the objects in this world, beginning with the body. And the whole purpose of Krishna consciousness is to change our affection from these temporary material objects to the permanent spiritual object, namely Krishna. In general, means Guru Gauranga Radha Krishna, their pastimes, everything. Hare Krishna. Yeah.
You spoiled the surprise.
I give surprise to both.
Simple one.
Shaulaga, sit down.
Get one chair for you.
We're bringing a chair. We're bringing a chair. We're bringing a chair.
How can you bring it? And there is, the benzene atom is a circle. So you've got 1 to the hydrogen, 1 to the next carbon, and 2 to this carbon. You follow that through, and it's C6H6. So like this, there's so many examples. And sometimes the exact object, remedies for diseases are prescribed in dreams. And sometimes the exact object or formative will of the Supreme Lord precedes the vanishing of the dream objects like chariots and so on. The dream is not unreal, like the illusion of silver in the shell. So sometimes you see a beautiful seashell and it looks as though there's silver in that shell. That is illusion. There is no silver. The silver is unreal. That silver that we think is there is unreal. Or just like in dark, you may see a rope and think, it's a snake. In that case, the snake is unreal. There's no snake there. There's only illusion of a snake. Or you might see a snake and think it's a rope and think, it's okay. And then the snake bites you. So in that case, the rope is unreal. He who can cause the bondage and release of the soul can easily bring about the dream and its withdrawal for the soul. There's nothing wonderful in it. Therefore, it must be understood that the manifestation and withdrawal of the dream world is also from that Lord. The same idea is expressed in the following verse of the Karma Purana. It is he, the Lord, that makes the soul, perceives the dream creations and so on, and he it is who hides them from his view. For on his will, the bondage and release of this soul depend. Therefore, the dream creation is real and is of the Lord. So, Srila Prabhupada, my Guru Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, he said, daydream, night dream. Here, Srila Vyasadeva is saying that it's by the will of the Lord only that the bondage of the soul is created and the freedom of the soul is created. It means we're in bondage now because we think this material world is our real home. That is illusion. That is illusion. And that is bondage. That bondage is created by the Lord, and you're being chased by a tiger, being chased by some nameless monster, whatever, an elephant, and running and running, and then you wake up. Oh, there's no elephant. So similarly now, we're being engulfed by different objects of sense gratification. And we're being chased by different terrifying objects, especially old age, disease, and death. But actually, when we wake, we'll say, oh, it was all a dream. Just like when you wake from a dream, you say, oh, it's nothing there. So, as we perceive, Adao Shraddha, Sadhusanga, the Bhajana Kriya, coming up from faith, and then Sadhusanga, performing devotional activity, Anartha Nivritti, dirty things going out, firm practice, taste, intense attachment, and then bhav. As we come through these, all the things that are holding us now, we say, oh my God. Just like previously we may have, some of us anyway, gone to discos or the pub or whatever. So now if you walk past all these objects that are attracting and repelling us now, as we progress in devotional service, you'll see this is nothing. Why? Because we're finding the actual reality. When we wake from a dream, oh, this is my real life, so we think. But actually, when we'll wake from this so-called real life and see that this is also a dream. Because we're contacting the reality of pastimes of Guru Gauranga Radha Krishna. So this is our goal, to develop that love towards the real object, not the dream objects, either in our dreams or the dream objects in this daydream, but to find our real permanent landscape, soulscape, where we really belong.
The subjective world is real and everybody is having their subjective world. So whatever we can see in the dream is real, but only I can see it. So what's the difference, or why we are saying the dream is real, but if I am looking the snake and it is a rope, that's illusion.
Yes.
It shouldn't be also real in my subjective world.
No. It's a mistake. The dream is not a mistake. It's actual. It's presented to us by the Lord, by Paramatma. It's not a mistake. We're actually perceiving something that is created by Paramatma. But when we see a rope and we think it's a snake, that's a mistake. It really, the snake really doesn't exist. There is no snake. There's something that resembles a snake, but our perception of snake, but the dream is there. Even dogs have dreams. You can see them. So the dream is not a mistake. It's real, but it's only perceived by me. Now, we think that this world exists objectively, right? But what is it that exists objectively? We think these objects, these pillars, the ceiling and like that this is all stuff. It's our subjective experience of stuff. You're having roughly the same subjective experience of the pillars and the ceiling and Maharaj sitting here as I'm having, right? From your perspective, from my perspective. So Krishna explains that all these elements, Sankhya elements, they're elements of our common subjective experience of this world. Okay?
But even though we can have a different perception of them.
We can have perception just like bats. They live in a soundscape. They don't see so much. And dogs live in a smellscape. Of course they can see, but you see they're running along with like I live on a farm, right? And I see this the farmer's followed by two dogs. So when one of them loses the farmer, you can see the dog running along the trail with his nose right down to the ground. He's just following the smell. So yeah, they have a different perception, according to our sense of importance also. Because what is real? They think that only matter is real. No! The consciousness with which we perceive matter is the fundamental absolute reality, axiomatic reality. That's their big problem. And then they think, oh, we will explain consciousness. Just like in a week or so, I'm going down to Delhi, and then there's a conference on the brain and consciousness. And they think they're going to explain how consciousness is produced by something other than the brain. This is bogus. How can you explain, how can something of which you are conscious, explain the fact that you are conscious in the first place? These people don't have any common sense, Prabhupada said. It's so true. Hare Krishna. Any more deliberations? Yes, Prabhupada. Maharaj.
Can you please just throw some light on mind and chitta in 24 elements? And second question, when we dream, just like, for example, if I am dreaming here in Vrindavan, and in my dream I am seeing Mayapur, so will my Atma also go to Mayapur, or my Atma will be there on the bed? Just two questions.
So first question, mind and chitta. So first of all, mind is the ability to accept and reject thoughts, feelings and desires. And we can experience this. We can change our mind. In other words, we can change what we're thinking about or what we're feeling. Then next one is buddhi, intelligence, by which we choose whether one particular object is favorable or unfavorable. So a child will see a razor blade and think, oh, this is very nice. But an adult will say, no, here, I'll give you this sweet. Never mind the razor blade. Because the razor blade is actually unfavorable. So, especially under direction of spiritual authorities, we learn which thoughts are favorable and which thoughts are unfavorable. And in fact, gradually we learn that the whole state of thinking about this material world is in itself unfavorable. And the favorable state is remembering pastimes of Krishna, thinking about Vishnu. So that's intelligence. Mind, intelligence, false ego. What is this false ego? Ahankar. I am the doer. I'm identifying that I'm doing this. I'm performing these activities. But actually the activities are carried out by the material nature. To some extent the soul is active. To some extent. Means the soul controls the life airs within the body, and in that way the body moves. That's according to Vedanta Sutra. And modern science has also confirmed, Sir John Eccles showed that the conscious self controls the body. It's a non-physical entity that controls the body by interacting with the dominant hemisphere of the brain, and then that controls the neurons in particular parts of the brain, and then those neurons control the different activities of the body. So ahankar means I'm identifying myself. I think that I'm this body, I think I'm a man, I think I'm a woman, I think I'm the doer, I'm a poet, I'm a this, I'm a that. These are all illusory identities. And the only way we can break free from that is by taking shelter of the holy name. When we take shelter of the holy name, really taking refuge at the lotus feet of Sri Guru, then we can actually become free, gradually become free from this identification with matter. We become free from the identification with the mind. We become free from the identification with the, with the intelligence. This is good, that's not good, yada, 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 yada. And ultimately, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. And gradually, by Krishna's grace, Chaito Darpana Marjanam. So the Chitta, our real self, will become visible on the mirror of the heart, Chitta. So Srila Prabhupada said it's like spiritual television. Huh?
So there are
appears
four
in
subtle things.
Huh?
There are four subtle things.
It mentioned, Krishna says. Or, no, Krishna actually in that verse, he says, Mano buddhirevacha, ahankaripti mame.
He's mentioning.
But then later on, it's Chitta is mentioned. That was first question. And then the second question?
When we dream.
Does the Atma go to Mayapur?
Yeah.
I can't say that it doesn't go to Mayapur on the one hand. That's like astral travel. But on the other hand, it said that the dream is created by the Lord. So it sounds, from what is stated here in Vedanta Sutra, the direct meaning is that the Lord will create a representation of, say if we're in Vrindavan, create a representation of Mayapur, and we think, I'm in Mayapur. Just like when you go to Mayapur, that's also a representation from the Lord. But here in the dream, we think, I'm in Mayapur, this is very nice. But actually it's a representation by the Lord, not that. It's not stated here that the Atma goes to the place that we're dreaming of. Simple example, for example, we may dream of places that just don't exist. Strange situations that just don't exist. We understand that the stuff is there. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, it's all there. But our perception of that is maintained by Paramatma, consciousness of it, by Paramatma, through the agency of demigods, devatas. Vrindavan Hama?
Can you please explain the role of imagination? Is there a role of imagination in our practice? Like, about ourselves, and for example, when we read something, we can try to visualize the leelas. Is this correct or is it wrong? Can we or should we use this faculty of imagination?
If we don't use the faculty of imagination, what is happening? Krishna and Baladev are in the pasturing ground with the cowherd boys, and they're playing and herding the cows and singing and dancing, all like that. So if we remember, when will I be able to take part in those pastimes? So if we remember those pastimes, is that just useless imagination? No, because we've heard about it from authorities who are representing the Supreme Lord. Srimad Bhagavatam is a manifestation of the Supreme Personality. So, because we conditioned souls, our recollection is not perfect, but there is some reality there. And the more we read one verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, and then for half an hour, they'll submerge themselves in the moods of that verse. And then again, they'll come back, they'll read another verse, and then again they'll submerge. He said, this is the traditional method of bhajan. So, but the question is, what do we have taste for? Because if you force yourself, it won't have much effect. Because how do we make impression? How do we make progress? We make progress through impression, mind rapture, everything. Like, for example, there are verses by Yamunacharya. So Thakur Bhaktivinoda, he's written songs for each of these verses. So whatever our state, same with Narottam Thakur, if we read Prarthana, some of these are describing the most elevated devotional states, and some of them are describing deep, illusion. I have no taste for chanting. My anarthas are like a spear in the heart, like this. So any mood. Somewhere we'll find those moods, and we can go into those moods, pray, and then gradually come up. Okay? Maharaj.
So, Krishna is directing the dreams, and he's also behind this illusionary world. My question is, if somebody dreams of Krishna, or dreams of Parshat of Krishna, can that be said equal to having experienced the revelation of the Lord?
To some extent, yeah. It depends on our present practice. It depends on previous activities also. Like a long time ago, 15 years ago or something, he brainwashed. When I saw him, every part of his body was like thousands of jewels, and his peacock feather was like thousands of peacock feathers. And then he called on his flute, and Radharani came, took her by the hand, and then they went off, and then she was with Radharani when she was cooking. And she saw how Radharani, every step was a dance, and she was going from one cooking fire to another cooking fire. She had no practice. She wasn't chanting anything. But some deep, deep, deep impressions from previous life. I had another young girl in Ukraine. She was dreaming in Saru. So it depends obviously it depends on previous activities. To come to this stage where we're chanting Hare Krishna somewhat comfortably, it means for hundreds of lifetimes we've actually practiced and worshipped Vasudeva. So much. Well, this is not our first lifetime. Not our first lifetime. So yeah, there's revelation there, but the depth of the revelation, it depends on a lot. And how we can go forward with that.
So many people say, nobody has seen God. But according to Vedanta Sutra, if God appeared to you in a dream, you have seen God.
Yeah. Not only that.
So then it is not valid to say that nobody has seen God.
If you have a dream, you've also seen the action of God. When you see it,
we see the action of God everywhere.
Yeah.
For one who sees me everywhere, sees everything in me. I'm never lost to him, nor is he ever lost to me. So yeah.
Good.
But that is abstract. But if in the dream actually Thakurji appears to you, maybe he's even moving, maybe he's even talking. And I've heard many people telling me that such dreams have come to them. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately to me they don't come, but
Maharaj.
Yes. So, about this, I heard from the Srila Bhakti Maharaj one day, someone asking one question, like not devotee, normal person, just join the devotional life. He asks, we are not look the Lord Krishna, then how we have believed Lord Krishna really exists in this universe. So Bhakti Puri Maharaj, easy answer. He said, Baba, you travel in train? Say yes. You come to Mayapur by train? Say yes. You look the train driver? Say no. So this universe going on. But we are not look the driver. The driver is the Krishna. And just like this train is going. Train is coming from Howrah to Navadvip. But there are one driver, but we are not looking this driver. But this driver exists or no? So yes, either train, how train go coming. Yes, same. Universe is going on. Continue. Universe so much running. Universe not stop in one place.
Yeah.
So we are not looking as the train driver, the driver of the universe. So driver of the universe, if you say yes.
Beautiful example, very nice example.
Beautiful. There was one time Srila Sridhaman went to listen to a class of an atheist. He wanted to find out how is their argumentation. And the atheist, he was saying, if God exists, you better forget about him because he's too busy. He's so busy doing billions of things. He won't have any time for you, so why bother? So then after that argument, Siddha Majventrani said, if he does exist and he has that capacity, he would not be able to forget one single item or a person he has created. So that was his way of defeating the super subjective, or what do you call that?
And others require out 10 times more carbon dioxide than other tree. So, for this, not any person or any animal or living, but in the Brajmandal, you cannot find this type of tree. This is so rare. This tree available in Bengal, but this tree so rare. Krishna secreted his places, secret places by this tree. So they are like security of this place, and because if anyone go inside, not living, because a lot of carbon dioxide at night. So they are the security of the Seva Kunja. Say, say yes. Scientifically is okay. He is a scientist. He is a scientist. I say scientifically is okay. But why Krishna not created this type of tree garden with this tree in another places in Vrindavan? Why? There. Why not in Gokul? Why not in Nandavadan? Why not in Raman Gati? Because there is a secret leela going on every day. So they are the security. Say, how is possible? I say Jivatma. Believe about Jivatma? Say yes. I said they are the security.
Security guard, carbon dioxide security guard.
I never looked this type of tree in another places. Only this place.
In our scriptures, the importance of dream in our daily affairs.
But the idea is to
So
see
we're out of-
we don't pay much attention, do we?
In other, like, American Indians or Australian so-called Aborigines, they have much, like they talk about the dream state, right? So they have a lot of importance on the dreams, but Western so-called objective waste time here as well, but it's a really important place.
you pay karma through the dreams.
Huh?
Yeah, through the dreams you pay karma.
Yes.
My question was, the idea what you were saying, the Chitora Panano, to have the vision of Krishna on the mirror of the heart, with the cheetah.
Mhm.
No? That's the idea.
Mhm.
No in dreams. It's not so
Yes.
different, it's keep the reference.
Yeah, if Krishna comes in dreams, that's wonderful. But our actual practice is, in the waking state, that I described. You know, you meditate on one mantra, one verse. So this is mantra pasana. And then later, Sarasiki, when the pastimes themselves come, one after another, no particular. This is advanced state, but it's all the same thing. It means that these transcendental pastimes, realities, they're appearing in the mirror of the heart, and we can actually, gradually, respond. And we know that Ashtakalya Lila Smaran. So the advanced practitioner can serve Radha and Krishna, really serve Radha and Krishna in the eightfold pastimes.
But this is Bhava Bhakti, no?
Bhav Bhakti.
And it's sincerely real, no?
No, we're not on that. I'm not on that stage yet.
Who is in that stage? How to know? It's impossible to know it even.
Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, know them by the way they talk, So when we hear from, just like Maharaj has quoted Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj, or for myself, I've heard from my Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. So they're speaking from a different realm, and they make that reality for us. That's why they're so attractive. Their Harikatha is so attractive. We can tell by the effect on the soul, actually.
In our self.
Yeah.
Just a simple one, thank you.
Maybe. On whatever level you are. On whatever level you are, you can have an important dream or trivial dreams. Anyone.
And as you said as well, even right now, we're in the matrix, we're dreaming. Even when we take rest, we're in a state of a dream. Sometimes we
What's the question?
Sometimes we record the dream, and sometimes we don't. So
What's the question?
I suppose how can one navigate their dreams in order
Don't worry about it. There's an art and science of lucid dreaming. There's a whole society of people who enter into their dreams and they actually direct their dreams. That's not part of our practice. Don't worry about it. The thing is to navigate this, to navigate the world in which we are at the moment and our practice, our world of practice consciousness.
Maharaj, it's very funny because sometimes I wake up in the middle of a dream, have to do something else, and then I go back to sleep
And again, the same dream.
Into
The same dream. Yes. It has a state.
Krishna is always present, even in their dreams.
How was that? You wake up and
Yeah, it happens, no? It happens to everyone. It happens to me also.
Well, one time, when Srila Prabhupada, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur
Go to washroom, come, again the same dream.
in Bagbajar, one person came to Prabhupada from the Kharagpur. You know Kharagpur, there are Prabhupada Mott, Prabhupada many times there, Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur there, meeting there, Goswami make Sabha, meeting there. So, this person coming from Kharagpur and say, Prabhupada, I give you some, today I got some extra money, I give you now. Prabhupada say, how you got? The Prabhupada, I am not buy the ticket for the train. Prabhupada say, this money not accepted. They are eating a lot, but the plate of the Bhoga offering like small small glass. I say, how is possible? About this, I heard from the Purushottam Swami, Bhakti Purushottam Swami Maharaj, from ISKCON. He said, only properly Bhoga offering in Jagannath temple. This is the called real offering. We are eating a lot for Thakurji's small plate. This is also not good. This is also cheating with the Lord Krishna.
That cannot be said, Maharaj.
Yeah, I agree.
We accept what to do as we learn from our Gurudev. We cannot dare to think that our Gurudev is not giving us appropriate. I've been to Ananta Vasudev Mandir in Bhuvaneshwara, and I must say it is very blissful when hundreds of pujaris bring hundreds of pots and the whole temple floor is filled with prasadam. It is, don't say real or not real. Our acharyas are all real. But it's very blissful. I've seen it. And in Ananta Vasudev temple, they leave you in there while they bring the food and you see all that. No? Where in Jagannath temple we can't even go inside, but there we can see it. So I've seen this and I really appreciated it. I say, wow, this is a beautiful style. But totally impractical. But one food which leaves Radharani's kitchen is already prashad. Yeah. There's not such thing. Maybe you didn't have time to make an offering to do all these physical things. But if the food leaves Radharani's kitchen to give to some visitor who just arrived, it's all prashad. So we cannot say, oh, because externally we don't do like this, then there's any less value in the offering.
No, I took Gurudeva in our Gopinath Gauriya Math. They plate such a big plate with their offering.
Big plate, small pot. Big part of what's being cooked, small part of what's being cooked. God sees. It's the intention of pujari. If we're offering with love, Chris said, okay, I'm taking nice.
That is Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam.
Bhaktya.
Yome Bhakya.
Prayasati.
But in Bhakti Bhava Puri Maharaj Mortal Puri, I look there, with their cooking, they are bringing to Krishna.
Good. That's good.
Because then Puri.
But just like here, they've been cooking for, I don't know, 500. And these gigantic woks, how are they going to offer? Not possible. That whole theory breaks down.
Whole theory breaks down. I've seen in big bandaras, they're cooking on such a thing that they're walking inside the pot with their feet to get it smell.
We have always say something, the Shaligram, the shoe repairman, he used this Shaligram for the repair the shoe, and this one Brahmin look this in Puri, this is the story from Puri. One Brahmin look, oh, you use the Shaligram for like shoe polish like this. Say, give it. You make big of it. Then Brahmin bring. And night, the Jagannath coming and say, why you bring me? Tomorrow you back. Say, Prabhu, he used your Shaligram. He used you for the polish of the the shoe polish like this. Say, but I am happy there because full day, all over the day, he chanting Gita Govinda. And I listen. You are only bring me, give me altar, okay, give me nice food, give me nice food, but you are not chanting. All over the day, when he have time, he chanting the Gita Govinda.
So we should use Shalagram Shila like this?
No. Then, like this, you say this, I say, I include this.
Yeah, Jagannath is happy, but this is not the way our acharyas have taught.
No.
Our acharyas have not taught that this is the way to use Shalagram Shila.
No.
So we follow acharyas.
And it is activated by light. So there's a corridor because the pineal gland, mostly in everybody, is looking down. So when the pineal gland is looking down, it's looking towards this, I think it's called the sternum. There's a corridor. So from here is what they're identifying as projected vision. It's not it's not like an array or substance that they can identify. They can't identify it from here to the pineal. But the pineal gland becomes activated. Its retina becomes activated, and in turn, the pineal gland activates into the brain. So, I was asking if you know any more about this, because this is called projected.
We don't have to do anything with our any gland in our body. We are not this body.
Yeah. I think otherwise Krishna would have said something.
But that could be the third eye. It's a different word.
Which is also not described in Bhagavad Gita.
Not in Gita, but in other scriptures, like Lord Shiva opened her third eye like that.
Okay, Lord Shiva's got third eye. But it's not our practice to open our third eye. No, Rupa Goswami has not said that this is the goal of bhakti, goal of sadhana bhakti, to open our third eye. Kriti saja bhavet saja bhava sa sadhanavida. Goal of our practice, sadhana bhakti, is to awaken bhav. And bhav means transcendental service to Guru Gauranga.
Is a river of wisdom, by some people's explanation. Because when the river of wisdom mixes in the prayak, then we get some spiritual enlightenment. So symbolically speaking, an enlightenment or developing a vision, that may be described as a third eye vision, but actually awakening of prema, that is more essential and maybe called in the same way if you want to. Like for example in Kundalini Yoga, in Kundalini they're talking about raising the spirit and...
That's different. It's subtle.
But it's in our scriptures.
Also
Yeah, it's subtle. The third eye is also subtle.
And this also
If there is such a third eye, it's also subtle. The enlightenment, that is the vision. The Saraswati is the river of wisdom. Without that, I mean, you can look as much as you won't find it.
But actually there was Saraswati River, but she's gone.
No. The Saraswati River was going to the Arabian Sea. It was not coming to the Triveni.
Is coming underground is not visible. But our third eye is never mentioned as human.
But
Srimad Bhagavatam doesn't mention it.
Saraswati is the river of wisdom, which flows in the Triveni.
Okay.
That's what I heard. I'm confirming with the saints.
This is the
That's
bloke.
what I heard.
A bloke told me Sampradaya.
The what?
A bloke told me Sampradaya.
A bloke.
Some bloke. Bloke. That's the English word for some guy. Some dude.
Like in Gujarat have few Gomati river, Maharashtra. One Gomati river,
From the actual subject of what we were talking about.
Anyway.
Well, just imagine if this projected vision is coming out of my eyes, this is what is allowing me to see things. I think it's reflective vision. I think I am seeing something here. No, I can't even see it if the projected vision is not touching it.
Hare Krishna.
I can see that the market, the esoteric supermarket, it is offering such a great amount of varieties and ideas and new age concepts, and then you go into other worlds through the narcotics of modern shamanic drugs, and they all use all these kinds of things, but I have not seen the result of them, of devotees coming out of all that. Some devotee who is really like an enlightened servant of humanity. I've not seen it. And I did even make the mistake of associating closer with these type of environments, and that really transformation, I've not seen it. So
I came to Krishna through drugs.
Huh? By giving it a mug.
I lost it completely. I mean, I was on a professional trajectory, you can say. And then I got lost, teaching. And then I went into that drug experience, completely lost it, drug-induced psychosis.
Today I spoke to one guy who said, I'm living now, he's a devotee, he said, I'm now living in a community where we practice the Windhof system.
Okay.
We go into the cold water every day, and then our goal is that we will cross the Balaton in the winter swimming. That will be like our spiritual success experience, no?
We went to
the Western people, they go for any stupid thing, and they make so much drama about it,
We went to a community event. Wim Hof was there. He's such an arrogant, so unspiritual, just totally enwrapped, and he comes on in shorts. And I'm not saying there's no value there, but it's not spiritual.
Yeah. We are going
Nothing
beyond our
spiritual
subject.
is there. They don't even promote anything spiritual. It's just a little pranayama.
Wim Hof had a bad experience. His own wife jumped out of a building, killed herself, and that's where his search began. And he did come to Himalayas and everything. Oh, I think 5 kids to take care of.
Hari Hari Bol.
I mean, we just read Vedanta Sutra. It's actually not our common book of reading. We know Sararikavasya of Shankaracharya. We know that Baladeva Vidyabhusan rescued the image of the Gaudiya Sampradaya by publishing this book called the Govinda Bhashya. But we don't read it so much. Because we consider that the Srimad Bhagavatam is the natural commentary on the Vedanta Sutra, and we are reading the Bhagavatam all the time.
Vedanta Sutra is wonderful.
Yes, but has your Gurudev ever given lectures on it?
Our Srila Prabhupada wanted to give commentary on the Vedanta Sutra, and our Gurudev also.
And who gave this commentary?
Baladev Vidyabhushan.
And English translation is done by?
I'm saying I find very interesting things because, you know, when supposedly the Bhasyas, they are profoundly defeating the idea of Mayavadi philosophy, because Sharirika Bhasya, based on Vedanta Sutra, Sripad Shankaracharya expounded the Mayavadi philosophy. And so that's where it all starts, no? As far as impersonalism and personalism goes. I guess Madhvacharya must have also written a commentary.
Yeah, all the four Sampradayas.
Right. Have you read any of them?
Only only this one.
Only Baladeva. Yeah, so that's what I mean. But when I asked him, come on, today you give the class. So he was giving the class, and it was so wonderful. He was quoting the same shlokas of Bhagavad Gita with the same twists as Prabhupada. I said, I mean, what's the difference, you know? But in the end of the day, you say Lakshmi Narayan is the highest, no? And we say Radha Krishna and Mahaprabhu the highest, no? Oh my God, no. Krishna, what the...
But at present, today morning I discussing with Gurudeva. So at present, the devotional emotion, by devotional emotion, government and many of people doing this type of things, which things not good, like 108 feet Shankaracharya deity, a statue in Omkareshwar, the up of the Mandhatta mountain, which mountain means one just side of the Kaveri, and one side is the Omkareshwar mountain, and one side is the this Mandhatta mountain where Manu living actually, Mandhatta mountain, and there are also a Shiva is 108 feet. 108 feet height, Shankaracharya and Shiva. In Navadvip has a Mahaprabhu like 70 feet. So Gurudeva say the birds coming and tools on there. So the government and few people who have the money, the richest person, they are now this competition going on. Who make the more big statue than others? Like first start by Mahaprabhu statue. Second, I don't know, by
Ramanuja.
They have the
big Ramanuja.
Balaram in Govardhan. Ananta Kunda. Shankarshan and now Ramanujacharya. Also, he is not a god or goddess, but he is one of the great Indian leader, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, who rescued many of Jyotirlingam, not only one, Somnath, Nageshwar. His statue is 108 feet. Shankaracharya 108 feet.
I just pray to Krishna that our ISKCON Babas and Akshaya Patram will not get the idea to make a 500-meter high Prabhupada.
Please. We don't want pros to talking for toilet.
No. Shankaracharya is Adi Guru.
We don't want pros to talk for toilet. Yeah.
Prabhupada often mentions this passing stool on monuments, and then
every year they come with a municipal brush
and scrub it in the face.
For I heard for these Goswamis don't like to make the temple, but Mahaprabhu when come to Vrindavan, Mahaprabhu say, make the temple, build the temple. shaper goes also, the 6 goes, 8 goes.
Temple means that anyone can come and associate with sadhu. It's the purpose of temple.
And we believe that the deities, whatever size they have, when it gets cold outside, we should give them a nice chadar, nice blanket. And who's going to put a chadar on those deities?
Now Omkareshwar is so cold. Then how Shankaracharya's situation you understand? Without chadar.
Radha Raman is so tiny, small size. So he's so present. Why have to have big small needles?
Well, we know the Western world promoted for many years because beautiful.
Western world. Saraswati Prabhupada said this Western civilization must be crushed.
He is not from our sampradaya, but Ramakrishna Thakur. One day, one person asked, you say Kali is the Yogamaya. He is played around the universe, but why we are looking small, your deity, Bhagavatai? Say, Baba, he also talking like this because he is from Bhagavan and Baba. You know, his Guru is called Baba. Say, he say, Baba, sun is so big, but we are looking small because our eye is polluted by illusion. So, and the Devi, Yogamaya, Bhagavatai, Kali, he is so far, but he is so biggest to cover the universe. But we are looking small, as like stars. So, Radharaman is not a small. He is so far from us. So we are looking small. We are looking from so far.